Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Unorthodox Vegan. My name is Sean Gold, and today we're going to be making two things. We're going to be making a tzatziki sauce, and we're also going to be making a mushroom donair. So we're going to be doing the two things which are going to go hand in hand when we actually make the donair, which is going to be made up out of these mushrooms. But in order to do that, we'll want to make a tzatziki sauce. So why not do two things in one? So that's what we'll be doing first. Tzatziki sauce, which was being made up using some tofu mixed up with some apple cider vinegar, some lemon juice, salt, a little bit of olive oil, and of course we'll be putting in some English cucumber that have already taken the seeds out. So we'll be doing that. And then for the mushrooms themselves, for the donair, we'll be using some mushrooms, and I'm using cremini mushrooms because I like these, and they were around and easily available. And I'll be also using a bunch of spices, which include paprika, smoked paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, oregano, cumin, and I'll be then serving it with a tahini and a dill sauce, and also with some white onion and some beefsteak tomato. So that's all the stuff. It sounds like a lot of fun. There's a lot of pieces to it, and sorry, it's going to be a little bit of cooking, a little bit of blending, but not a heck of a lot of real work. Now, first of all, we'll be making the tzatziki, and before we do that, I'm going to adjust the camera and get everything ready. Back in a moment. I have here about 225 grams of medium firm tofu, and I've got that because I cut off a piece from a 450 gram or pound, 1 pound of tofu. So I got that organized in there already. I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of olive oil and mix that in there. That's 1. And that's 2. And we'll be adding into that 2 cloves of garlic. Actually, I like garlic. I'm putting in 3 cloves of garlic. I already minced those up earlier, so you don't have to watch. We do that. All right, cut them up earlier. We're putting that in there. And we'll be adding in a tablespoon of lemon juice. Tablespoon of lemon juice. And I know I use the stuff in a container, not fresh, but fresh would be better. I'll be putting in a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. There's a nice little fruity tartness to it, in addition to the fruity tartness you get from the lemon juice. And some dried dill. I'll be putting in a teaspoon of dried dill. Let's get that in there. All right, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That's just a little bit of salt, not a lot. And it's going to be putting in just a tiny little bit of pepper, not a lot, just a little bit, just to get that black pepper flavor in there. And I think that's it. We'll be putting in the English cucumber later, but we have a process for doing that. And before we do all of that, I need to bring out the blender. Just get rid of the chunks and cut it. First, I'm going to grate these English cucumbers. Now, I've already taken the seeds out. I ate the seeds. I enjoyed the seeds. I'm going to grate this. Got a little grater here, so I'm going to grate it. I have chopped up I've shredded the cucumber, and I've squeezed out most of the water, so I'm going to be dumping that back into the rest of the mix with the tofu. And then I'll be giving that a little bit of a processing. I don't want to make it into I don't want to liquefy it, or don't want to turn it into the wrong thing. I just want to get the right consistency here for my tahini. Now comes the fun and somewhat easy part to do. We're going to be mixing just all of the ingredients for the marinade, I guess, for the mushrooms. So first of all, it's going to be 1 tablespoon each of the following. We're going to put in a tablespoon of smoked paprika, followed by a tablespoon of garlic powder. Probably should have done that one first. Oh, the color transfer. Okay, tablespoon of garlic powder, tablespoon of onion powder. Oh, I need to pop that guy off. Okay, let's see if that'll work. Okay, tablespoon of garlic powder, tablespoon of oregano. There you go. And a tablespoon of cumin. I'm not a huge fan of cumin, so this is a challenge for me to do that. I actually like it in the in the flavor, but just by itself, it just doesn't seem to. I don't know. I don't care for it, but when I taste it later, mixed into things like hummus or other things like that, like the baba ganoush, it actually is quite nice. So, a tablespoon of that goes in there, and we're putting in 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I think I have about 3 tablespoons left in this container. 1, 2, and 3, and just a tiny bit left for cooking later. Okay, so we'll be doing that. Now, also a tablespoon of lemon juice. Let's get the lemon juice in there. There you go. Okay, now I'm going to mix this all together. Well, I've mixed this all together, so I've got that kind of a pasty thing. I'm going to use that to coat. Now I'm going to just use this marinade thing, whatever it's called, brush, and I'm going to coat this as much as I can. Full disclosure, that process did not work using the brush to brush it on. It just wouldn't stick to it. So I ended up doing it by hand. So a lot of getting in my hands in there and getting in nice and close to it. So just taking in some of that lumpy stuff like that paste and just putting it on and spreading it out a little bit. I've got the oven heating up to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. I just took the mushrooms out of the oven and they're hot. And I'm going to try a trick I saw. Although I didn't put those skewers in right, the trick I saw had using the skewers, putting them into oops, that's not going to work. Putting them into a potato to hold it and then carving along it, but I'm not sure if it's going to work. I'm going to give it a try. Trying to get that in there, not without burning myself. And now we're going to try to slice off some of this meat without getting the potato. So just slicing through these mushrooms. By the way, I did find that the recipe was wrong. I went back and took a look at it. It was on a Instagram channel, and it showed the sauce that was used to marinate the mushrooms was a lot more liquidy, but I put in the exact ingredients, the exact proportions of ingredients that it said. So that didn't quite work out as quite as it had supposed to. It wasn't quite as liquidy, and I don't think it is absorbed as much into the mushrooms, but we'll see. We're going to test this out. It's got a rich flavor here. I can smell it in the aroma. I can tell it from the aroma. It's amazing. I'm just cutting this up, trying to get it nice and some nice small pieces. And I've got a wrap ready to put it on, serve it on. And I put a little bit of that tahini sauce that I made, which is a little lumpy. I have to admit that. It wasn't quite as creamy as I thought it would be. I was trying to find one that didn't have to use vegan yogurt. Because I figured, why not just use tofu? And it sounded like a good option, but it is what it is. All right, now the way this works, or is supposed to work, I'm learning as we go. As I mentioned, I put some that tzatziki onto a wrap here. Now the tahini was supposed to be a tahini sauce, not tahini. So I just mixed some tahini with some lemon juice, and then I put it in with some dill, which I had that lemon dill sauce. So I'm going to be putting a little bit of that in there. I might put some on top of that. Put in I don't know if I need 2. Those are big. I'll put in whatever. I'll put in 2 beefsteak tomatoes, some white onions. That was what was recommended in the recipe for that. And put in my mushroom. And now I'll put some of this on top again. Just drizzle that on there. It also recommended putting in some chili sauce, but I don't know if it needs it. We'll see. We'll see if it needs any. I'll try not to. Okay. I can tell that that's nice and lemony. Let's see how well this thing can work as a wrap to hold it all. Oh, what the heck? Just do it like this. Make it more like a burrito than a. This is going to be leaky, I can tell. All right, let's do a taste test. All right. Well, that's a blast of flavors. The onions, the dill, and all of the spices in the mushrooms. It's amazing. That's really quite delightful. Let's try that again. It's got a lovely texture. Wow, that's really good. Not bad. For a few screw ups, little things that were messed up, like texture-wise on missing some things. So there you have it. Tzatziki, a little lumpy, a little crumbly. Probably needs to have a little more liquid in it. The marinade for the mushrooms, not enough liquid. I don't know what was wrong with that, but not like it showed in the video on Instagram. And just all the other stuff, fixing. Just make a regular donair. So there you have it. There you have it. This episode of the Unorthodox Vegan, brought to you by me, Sean Gold. If you want more further information, you can reach me at my email address, whatever, up here. It's going to be vrcompanions@gmail.com. And you can always follow me, and please follow me on my YouTube channel. That is www.youtube.com/@the_unorthodox_vegan/. I'll have it up here as well. Thank you very much. Have yourself a great day. Bye for now.